She was shy when he met her in that bar. So she was from a place stars don't light up the dark.
About a Woman. It's such a great, fun record. I got got a copy of it last night. Got to listen to it. Man, I'm loving Back to Blue and Boots.
Oh,
Those are
heck
my two
yeah.
favorite songs on that record.
Thanks,
How
man.
did you approach the new album?
Man, honestly, from a melodic standpoint, I feel like I've approached so many of my albums always with like titles or concepts. And I work with a lot of different, producers on this project, a lot of different songwriters, a lot of people that have written with, my producer produced the new Teddy Swims project and produced the new Sabrina Carpenter project. And so it was kind of like Nashville kind of met California in a way. And so a lot of this was really based off like, how do we make these songs joyful and fun and melodic driven and things that kind of like just annoyingly got stuck in your head and you couldn't understand why. And so I would say we focused a lot on melody on this project and really just tried to pursue the mission of fun, man. Because you've been to our shows, dude. They're very high energy, they're very energetic, and so I wanted to make a record that really kind of represented what we do live.
You said the album About a Woman is about your wife, Thomas. How does Lauren make you a better musician?
I think just by existing. She there's no shortage of inspiration when I hang around my wife. In so many aspects of life, she always makes me better. She has definitely made me a more patient human being, a more loving human being. And honestly, just like getting to watch her, be a mom to our girls and be a friend to our friends and a sister, to her siblings. Like she really does. Like I can just watch her and come up with a way to write about her. It's kind of always come really naturally to me, especially since the beginning of my career. I feel like I've kind of become a professional at writing love songs about this one human being. And so to dedicate kind of an entire record to her has been really special for me. So
I Could Spend Forever Loving You seems like kind of the centerpiece of the record. Is
sure.
there a song on there that you feel kind of like pulls all of the tracks together?
Man, this record is pretty diverse. If you listen down, you're not really going to find any two tracks that are the same. And I think that's kind of how I love to make records. I love to kind of keep the listener guessing as they go down the track listing, especially from like a production standpoint. But I think the song "Something About a Woman" was one of the first tunes we wrote for this record. And although not a lot of the tunes feel like this, there's something about that song that like sonically I've never done, and kind of like even mood wise I've never done. It's very like dark and kind of vibey and kind of moody and kind of sexy. And I think if you've listened to my music, my songs are very sweet, if you will. And this just kind of added a little bit of layer of swag and a little bit of sexy for me, which was really fun and something that I think my wife really enjoyed as well. So I think that song is going to be received really, really well by the fans.
What about the spin you take on Whitney Houston's "I Want to Dance with Somebody"?
Yeah, a lot of people have asked if that was like a nervous feeling trying to do that, and the answer is obviously yes. I mean, it's arguably the most iconic pop song of all time. And the only one of only two tracks I didn't write on this project. My buddy Ryan Hurd sent me that song, and I had no idea what to expect. He literally just sent me the song and just said Whitney at the bottom, and I was like, "What does that mean?" And so I started playing it, driving down Music Row here in Nashville, and when that chorus came on, my hands just went straight to the roof. I was like just vibing. I was like, that little subtle Whitney play in the chorus just kind of made me be like, this song deserves to be screamed in an arena somewhere. So that was a lot of fun to work on for sure.
Um, you and I've talked a couple times over the last few years. I talked to you when everything was shut down and the pandemic
Yeah,
was in full bloom. But
sure.
Thomas, what have you learned about yourself over the last couple of years and the last three records?
I think how to enjoy it more. There's a common like kind of cliche quote of like, this is supposed to be fun, and I think when you kind of get really bogged down in this thing that we call the music business, it's hard to kind of celebrate the wins because it's always just on to the next and on to the next and on to the next. And so I think, as bad as 2020 was for a lot of people, it really forced me to like really learn how to live in the moment. And so like this record release for me feels, and the last one felt so different because I felt like I was actually in the moment and was able to enjoy it rather than like the stress of, is it going to perform well, and the pressure of this and this and this. I'm just like, man, I made a record that I feel very joyful about and feel very confident in. And maybe it is partly turning 30 and my brain is fully developed now, but like I just feel centered, I guess. And so I think learning how to be centered is probably the biggest thing I've learned since 2020. So
You're going to be hosting the CCMAs in Edmonton next month.
yeah.
Super cool co-hosting. How'd that come about?
Man, they asked us and I was like, are y'all sure that you want me to do this? Like, it's a huge honor. You know, I've only been to one CCMA and I think it was back in 2017 when it was in Halifax. And so I've gotten to know Mackenzie over the last couple of years. She's written with a bunch of people that I work with, and I'm a big fan of hers. And so kind of to be co-hosting with, Canadian royalty is a huge honor for me. And I was talking to her the other day and I was like, I'm just going to follow your lead. Like, you're the actress and you're actually from here and you're great behind the camera. So I'm just going to kind of follow your lead. But it really is a huge honor to be able to I've never hosted an award show before. So to be able to, for my first one to be, in one of my favorite countries in the world is a pretty high honor. So
Are you looking at anybody else for inspiration as a host?
man, Reba is kind of always my top tier person I look at. I feel like Reba's great. I feel like Luke Bryan has done a great job the last few years. Yeah, I think me and Mackenzie are just trying to figure out our humor with not only each other, but how we kind of incorporate humor into the, hitting on some artists a little bit in the crowd and making it all fun and love. But yeah, Reba, I feel like just brings so much energy to a room. So I'm going to start studying some game tape from Reba.
Have any of your daughters sort of looked at dad and thought, I want to follow in dad's footsteps?
They don't know what I mean. They're just into everything. They're at that age where they're like, I want to try hip hop and ballet, and I want to do horses, and I want to play basketball, and I want to try golf, and I want to do tennis, and I'll play the piano a little bit. But I think just innately being around me, I've seen that my kids kind of have a knack for just like making words rhyme, where like they'll come up with little ditties like on the fly, and so I know that they get that from watching me down here in the studio kind of playing, and I'll set up my microphone and put a beat on the computer and just let them kind of freestyle. And so I think it's in them to be able to write and sing music if they wanted to, but I think they're so young and they're just watching what their friends are doing right now. So I don't know if I'll be able to tell until they're probably, 15 or 16 years old, but it is fun to watch how much they love music already.
Thomas, I asked you once, if you and Lauren, you've known each other since you were kids, if there was ever a point where she thought you'd make it, you said, no chance. But
dude, I remember
how did Lauren nurture those dreams when they were just dreams, before they became reality and keep you going?
Yeah. So you've listened to the record. There's a song on there called What Could Go Right, which is a complete verbatim story of the night that I kind of told my wife that I was in love with her. And I was like, I just signed a record deal and I have no idea if I'm ever going to make it, but I just wanted you to know that I'm about to be gone for the next 2 years, guaranteed. And I think there was a point early on where she was like, it's a 1 in a million shot for anybody to make it in this group. I mean, it genuinely is a miracle for anybody to make it, quote unquote, in this job, because there's so many people that are doing it at such a high level. But I think it was when the song Die Happy Man came out that she looked at me and she's like, I think that this is going to be the next 20 years of your life, and man, the amount of time that Lauren sacrificed for my dreams was, it's something that I thank her for every day. You know what I mean? Because she graduated with a nursing degree from the University of Tennessee. And I think always dreamed of being able to work in a hospital and use her nursing degree. But our marriage counselor early on was like, hey, I think y'all need to be fully together for the whole first year of your marriage. And so when she graduated college, she literally came on the bus with me and 8 dudes while we traveled, and did 300 plus shows that year. And it really wasn't until probably 2017 where she kind of became involved with this nonprofit called Love One, where she actually got to put her medical skills to use, whether that was in Haiti or in Uganda or other places in Africa. And so it's been amazing to kind of watch her support, my dream early on in my career. And now it's been awesome to kind of get to return that favor of supporting what she loves to do in this part of our marriage. And so, yeah, man, it's been a wild ride for the both of us, and both of us just feel so blessed to even be doing this for a living. To be able to make music and do it at a professional level is absolutely a dream come true. And she has been my rock and kind of my stronghold through the entirety of it. So
once she gone country, she never going back. She feeling right at home with the boots up on my dash. When she